Welcome to the Oribooks, where the written word comes to life. Here, we delve deep into life's most profound lessons and timeless wisdom. Each audiobook is an invitation to explore new perspectives, embrace the present moment, and embark on a journey of self-discovery. Whether you're seeking peace, growth, or a fresh outlook on life, you're in the right place. Join us as we share stories that inspire, enlighten, and challenge the way you view the world. Introduction. The fragile dance of certainty. Life often feels like a quest for certainty, a search for solid ground amidst an ocean of uncertainty. In a world constantly in motion, we cling to the belief that stability, clarity, and control are the answers to our anxieties. From the moment we wake up, we set our intentions, make plans, and try to shape our days according to a preordained script. We yearn for predictability, hoping that if we control enough aspects of our lives, the chaos around us will subside. But the more we grasp for this elusive certainty, the more we are confronted with the truth. It cannot be found. In fact, it was never meant to be. The search for security is a mirage, a comforting illusion that ultimately binds us in frustration. The harder we try to control the uncontrollable, the more we find ourselves at odds with the ebb and flow of life. In reality, life's beauty lies not in its predictability, but in its spontaneity. It is in the cracks of uncertainty that the light of growth shines most brightly. This book invites you to release the need for perfect answers and embrace the present moment. It encourages us to surrender the illusion of control and find freedom in trust. For when we allow ourselves to coexist with life's natural flow, we discover that the very uncertainty we fear holds the potential for profound transformation. Trusting life is not about having all the answers. It is about being at peace with the questions, understanding that we are not in charge of the outcome, but we can always guide our responses. Through acceptance, we find the courage to live more fully, to be vulnerable, and to experience life in all its richness. This is not a guide to solving life's problems, but rather a path to discovering the freedom that comes when we stop trying to control what we cannot. It is an invitation to dance with life's uncertainties, to step into the flow, and to find peace not in perfect answers but in the trust that, just as a river flows, so too does life. Chapter 1. The Illusion of Control. From the moment we take our first steps in life, we are conditioned to believe that control is the answer to our problems. We're taught that with enough effort, discipline, and planning, we can shape our futures and master our environments. Control, we are told, is a mark of success. But is it? As we strive to hold tight to the reins of our lives, we often find ourselves slipping further from the sense of security we so desperately crave. In fact, the more we try to control, the more we realize that the world around us is not something that can be contained. It shifts, it surprises, and it defies our expectations. Think about the nature of our goals. We work tirelessly to build careers, secure relationships, and craft comfortable lives. We make plans, maps we believe will lead us to a particular destination, and yet, how many times have we found ourselves standing at an unexpected crossroads, uncertain of which path to take? The pursuit of control leads us into the paradox of never feeling completely in control. We work ourselves to exhaustion in an attempt to tame the chaos, only to find that we are prisoners of our own pursuit. The mirage of certainty never quite materializes. The future is too unpredictable, and no amount of effort can carve out the permanence we desire. This yearning for control often manifests in ways that don't serve us. We try to micromanage relationships, fearing that love will slip through our fingers if we don't exert influence over every detail. We try to control the outcomes of our careers, hoping to secure a sense of achievement that will shield us from failure. But in doing so, we forget that life's most meaningful experiences, joy, connection, growth, often arise from the very moments we cannot plan or anticipate. It is in the unknown that we discover possibility, The tighter we grip, the more we lose our grip on what truly matters. At some point, the realization dawns. Control is an illusion. It is an armor we wear to protect ourselves from life's unpredictability. But the armor does not protect us. It suffocates us, closing us off from the very experiences that could bring us peace, growth, and joy. True liberation begins when we stop fighting against the current and allow ourselves to float with it. When we stop demanding certainty, we make space for life's mysteries to unfold in unexpected, beautiful ways. Letting go of the need to know isn't about passivity or resignation. It is about trust. Trusting that the universe or life itself has its own rhythm and timing. It is about embracing the unknown, not with fear, but with a sense of wonder. When we accept that we can't control everything, we free ourselves from the burden of expectation. This is not a surrender of agency or ambition, but a shift in perspective. Instead of trying to bend life to our will, we begin to align with it. How do we begin to let go of this need for control? First, it's important to acknowledge the discomfort that comes with uncertainty. We've been conditioned to seek certainty at all costs, and so, it's only natural that letting go of this drive feels disorienting at first. But with time, we can learn to sit with the discomfort without being overwhelmed by it. Mindfulness practices, such as meditation, help us cultivate a calm awareness of the present moment, allowing us to acknowledge uncertainty without needing to fix it. In these moments, we begin to realize that we are not at war with life. We are participants in it. The truth is, control doesn't offer us security. It offers us anxiety. Control is a response to fear, the fear that we won't be enough, that things won't turn out the way we want, that life's unpredictability will overwhelm us. When we let go of the need to control, we open ourselves up to a deeper experience of life, one that isn't defined by rigid expectations, but by flow, spontaneity, and presence. The act of letting go is not a one-time event, but a continual practice. Each moment offers us the choice to release, to surrender our grip, and trust that what unfolds is what is meant to be. As we make this choice again and again, we gradually realize that freedom doesn't come from controlling the world around us. It comes from relinquishing our attachment to control altogether. When we let go of the need to know, we are finally free to live fully in all of life's messy, unpredictable glory. Chapter 2. The Present as the Only Reality. We live in a world that is relentlessly obsessed with time. We are defined by the past we carry and the future we long for, constantly torn between what has already happened and what might happen next. But in our pursuit of the past and the future, we overlook the only moment that is real, the present. The past is nothing but a collection of memories, a shadow of what once was, forever fading and slipping through our fingers. The future, on the other hand, is an ever-moving target, an idea that has yet to take form, shaped by our hopes, anxieties, and projections. Yet, most of us spend the majority of our lives either regretting what has been or worrying about what could be. We carry the weight of our past mistakes, letting them define us, while simultaneously chasing an uncertain future that may never come. In doing so, we miss the richness of the present moment, the only place where life truly exists. Our obsession with time, with what was and what will be, often leaves us disconnected from the simple joy of simply being. The mind, conditioned by the demands of society, constantly pulls us away from the now. When we're working, we're thinking about what we have to do next. When we're with others, we often find ourselves thinking about past conversations or anticipating future ones. Even when we try to relax, we find it hard to truly unwind because our thoughts are constantly racing ahead. This habitual pattern of living in the past or future keeps us disconnected from the profound peace that can be found in the present moment. What if we could begin to free ourselves from this mental time travel? What if, instead of replaying old stories in our minds or projecting fears about tomorrow, we could fully engage with the now. The truth is, the past no longer exists except in our memories, and the future is a concept that never fully arrives. Only the present is tangible, the only time we can touch, feel, and experience life directly. The present moment is a sanctuary. It is the place where all of life's richness is found. The warmth of the sun on your skin, the sound of laughter, the sensation of a deep breath. But to fully experience the present, we must consciously anchor ourselves in it. This is where mindfulness comes in, an ancient practice that invites us to be fully aware of each moment, without judgment or distraction. Mindfulness is not just about meditation, though meditation is a powerful tool. It is about shifting our awareness to the simplicity of being. It is about paying attention, truly paying attention, to the world around us. The next time you take a walk, notice the sensation of your feet touching the ground. Hear the birds, feel the breeze, smell the earth. Engage your senses and allow yourself to be fully immersed in the experience of now. When you focus on the present moment, you break free from the tyranny of past regrets and future worries. You give yourself permission to simply exist. But mindfulness isn't just a passive observation of the world. It is an active engagement with life. By being fully present, we unlock a deeper connection to ourselves and others. We begin to listen without distractions, to see without judgment, and to love without expectation. In the present, we are free from the burdens of time, liberated from the weight of what we cannot change, and open to the possibilities of what is right in front of us. Gratitude is another powerful practice for anchoring ourselves in the now. When we pause to appreciate the gifts of today, whether big or small, we train our minds to focus on what we have, rather than what we lack. Gratitude shifts our perspective from scarcity to abundance. It invites us to see the beauty in the ordinary, the taste of a meal, the kindness of a friend, the quiet moments of stillness. Each of these moments is a reflection of the present, and when we embrace them with gratitude, we find ourselves fully grounded in the reality of now. Mindfulness, gratitude, and sensory awareness are just a few ways we can cultivate presence in our lives. But the practice itself is simple. It is the choice to show up for our lives, exactly as they are, without the need for anything more. It is the willingness to be with ourselves, without the pressure of doing or achieving. When we let go of the illusion that we must be anywhere other than where we are, we can finally rest in the present, where life is not something to be fixed or controlled, but something to be experienced in its fullest, most authentic form. In the now, we find freedom, we find peace. And in this freedom, we discover that the present moment holds the key to everything we seek. The future, with all its uncertainties, no longer needs to be feared, because we are already whole, right here, right now. The past, with all its shadows, no longer needs to haunt us, because we are free to create who we are, in the only moment that truly matters, the present. Chapter 3. The Paradox of Insecurity. Insecurity is often seen as a weakness, a flaw to be hidden or fixed. We live in a culture that champions certainty, confidence, and control, and any sign of vulnerability is considered something to be avoided at all costs. Yet, in our attempt to shield ourselves from insecurity, we often imprison ourselves in the very walls we build to protect us. We hide our fears, our doubts, our struggles, and in doing so, we lose touch with the raw, authentic essence of who we are. But what if vulnerability is not something to be ashamed of, but something to embrace? What if true freedom comes not from hiding our insecurities, but from accepting them as part of the human experience? Vulnerability is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of courage. It is the willingness to show up in the world as we are, without the facade of perfection, without the armor of control. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we free ourselves from the constant pressure of having to be something we are not. We stop pretending, stop performing, and we start living authentically. In vulnerability, we find connection. It is through our willingness to be open, imperfect, and raw that we allow others to do the same. When we share our insecurities, our fears, and our uncertainties, we create space for others to do the same. This shared vulnerability is the foundation of genuine relationships, the soil in which trust and intimacy grow. It is through our openness that we find strength, not in spite of our insecurities, but because of them. For it is in vulnerability that we learn to trust, to love, and to live fully. The paradox is this: by accepting our vulnerability, we become more powerful. It is only when we stop hiding from our insecurities that we can fully embrace the richness of life. Vulnerability does not make us weak, it makes us real. And in a world that is constantly demanding us to be something we're not, being real is the ultimate form of freedom. Life is a constant flow of uncertainty. We cannot predict the twists and turns of the road ahead, nor can we control the events that will shape our future. Yet, it is in this very uncertainty that we discover the potential for growth. When we let go of the need for certainty, we open ourselves to the vast unknown, where the possibility for transformation is limitless. Uncertainty is often feared because it challenges our need for control. We want answers, we want direction, we want to know what's coming next. But in seeking certainty, we close ourselves off from the beauty of life's unpredictability. The truth is, growth does not occur in a vacuum of certainty. It occurs precisely in the spaces between what we know and what we don't. It is in the unknown that we discover new strengths, new perspectives, and new possibilities. Life's uncertainties stretch us, push us beyond the limits of what we thought we could endure, and in the process, we expand into the person we are meant to be. Consider the moments in life that have led to your greatest growth. Were they the moments of comfort, when everything was predictable and secure? Or were they the moments of challenge, when you faced uncertainty head-on? More often than not, it is in times of struggle, when the future seemed unclear and the path uncertain, that we learned the most about ourselves. It is in the dark, unknown places that we uncover our hidden strengths, our resilience, and our capacity for transformation. Uncertainty is the crucible in which our true potential is forged. It is only when we allow ourselves to step into the unknown that we discover the depth of our own resilience. The truth is, we are not defined by our circumstances. We are defined by how we respond to them. And when we embrace uncertainty, we open the door to growth. For it is only in the unknown that we have the opportunity to transcend our limitations and become more than we ever imagined possible. But how do we cultivate the courage to face uncertainty with an open heart? First, we must release our attachment to outcomes. We must let go of the belief that we need to control the future and instead trust that life will unfold as it is meant to. We must learn to be present with uncertainty, to sit with the discomfort without the need to fix or control it. In the space of this acceptance, we find freedom, the freedom to explore, to grow, and to evolve. The paradox of uncertainty is this: the more we resist it, the more we are trapped by it. But the more we lean into it, the more we are liberated by it. By embracing the unknown, we step into a space of infinite possibility, where growth knows no bounds. It is in the uncertain moments of life that we become the person we are meant to be, and it is through uncertainty that we discover the wisdom, strength, and resilience that lie within us all. Insecurity and uncertainty are not obstacles to be avoided. They are the very conditions in which growth takes root, where transformation occurs, and where true freedom is found. When we stop running from them, we realize that they are not our enemies, but our teachers, guiding us to a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. It is in the paradox of insecurity and uncertainty that we find the greatest freedom of all, the freedom to be fully alive, fully present, and fully ourselves. Chapter 4. Trusting the flow of life. Life is like a river, constantly flowing, shifting, and changing. In our desire for control, we often find ourselves fighting against its current. We paddle upstream, trying to dictate the course of our lives, resisting the flow of events as if we could somehow force the river to bend to our will. But what happens when we fight the flow of life? We exhaust ourselves, we struggle, and we miss the beauty of the journey. The more we try to control the uncontrollable, the more we feel trapped in a cycle of frustration and resistance. Surrendering to the flow of life does not mean giving up or resigning ourselves to passivity. It means releasing the illusion that we can control everything, and instead choosing to trust in the natural unfolding of events. It means accepting that life is not always predictable, and that sometimes the best way to navigate the twists and turns is to let go of the need to steer. Surrender is an act of trust, a deep faith that, even in the chaos and uncertainty, the flow of life will lead us exactly where we need to go. Trusting the flow of life requires us to let go of our attachment to outcomes. When we surrender, we stop demanding that life unfold according to our plans and timelines. We stop measuring our worth based on external achievements or milestones. Instead, we trust that each moment, no matter how uncertain or uncomfortable, is a part of our larger journey. We begin to see that life's challenges are not obstacles, but invitations to grow, learn, and evolve. This trust is not blind. It is a trust rooted in the understanding that we are part of something larger than ourselves, a vast, interconnected web of existence that is constantly in motion. Life is not something to be controlled, it is something to be experienced. When we surrender to it, we align ourselves with its natural rhythm, and in that alignment we find peace, flow, and harmony. The more we fight against the current of life, the more we create resistance. The more we surrender, the more we experience a sense of ease and grace. We stop swimming upstream, and instead allow the current to carry us, trusting that it will take us to exactly where we need to be. The paradox of surrender is this: the more we let go, the more we find ourselves moving forward with purpose and clarity. Impermanence is the essence of life. Everything changes. The seasons change. Our relationships change. Our bodies change. Nothing in this world is fixed or permanent. And yet, we often resist this fundamental truth. We cling to what we have, afraid of losing it. We try to hold on to moments, people, and experiences, as if by doing so, we can freeze them in time. But in this clinging, we miss the very essence of life's beauty. When we resist the impermanence of life, we set ourselves up for suffering. We fear change, we resist loss, and we try to control the fleeting nature of all things. But impermanence is not something to be feared. It is the very thing that gives life its richness, its depth, and its meaning. Without impermanence, life would be static and lifeless, lacking the flow and vitality that make each moment precious. Imagine a flower blooming in a field. Its beauty is not in its permanence, but in its fleeting existence. The flower's brilliance is made all the more exquisite by the fact that it will eventually fade. Its impermanence makes it special. If it were to remain forever, its beauty would lose its power, its impact. It is the very fact that the flower will die that gives its life meaning. We too are like that flower. Each moment of our lives, though fleeting, is imbued with meaning because of its impermanence. When we learn to accept the impermanence of life, we open ourselves to its full experience. We no longer waste time trying to hold on to the past or resist the future. We can embrace each moment for what it is, without the need to preserve it. The beauty of life lies not in the things we cling to, but in the space we create when we let go of the need to hold on. By embracing impermanence, we begin to see the world differently. We stop taking life for granted. We savor the fleeting moments of joy, beauty, and connection, knowing that they are temporary, and that is what makes them so precious. We learn to let go of expectations and to live in the moment, appreciating the fleeting nature of life for the gift that it is. When we find joy in impermanence, we liberate ourselves from the fear of loss. we no longer resist change, but instead, we celebrate it. We understand that every ending is also a beginning, and that life is a continuous cycle of transformation. Each moment is an opportunity to experience something new, to learn, to grow, and to be present with what is. In this way, impermanence becomes not something to fear, but something to cherish, a reminder that life is constantly evolving, constantly offering us new possibilities and experiences. In the flow of life, there is beauty in every moment, precisely because it will not last forever. And it is in this fleeting nature that we find the true essence of life's richness. The flow of life, with all its changes, uncertainties, and impermanence, is what makes it so profoundly meaningful. When we trust the flow, we align ourselves with the natural rhythm of existence, and in doing so, we find the freedom to live fully, without fear or resistance. Life is not a destination to be reached, but a journey to be experienced. And it is in surrendering to the flow, in finding joy in impermanence, that we unlock the deeper wisdom of life's most profound truth. Everything changes, and that is precisely what makes it all so beautifully, uniquely alive. Chapter 5. The balance between action and acceptance. In a world that demands results, the pressure to act is constant. We are taught from an early age to take initiative, to strive for success, to make things happen. But in our pursuit of achievement, we often become so consumed with the outcome that we forget the true power lies not in the result, but in the process itself. It is the act of doing that brings us closer to who we are meant to be, not the end goal. The key to living a fulfilled life is to engage with the world through action, yet without becoming attached to the outcome. This is where true freedom lies, not in the pursuit of an ideal future, but in the willingness to fully show up in the present moment and do what needs to be done without clinging to the results. When we act without attachment, we free ourselves from the burden of expectation and the fear of failure. Attachment to outcomes is rooted in the belief that our value is tied to our achievements. We live in a culture that rewards success and punishes failure. And in doing so, we begin to equate our worth with what we accomplish. But this creates a trap, because we are never truly in control of the results. No matter how hard we work, no matter how much effort we put in, life is unpredictable, and outcomes are never guaranteed. When we attach our sense of self to external results, we set ourselves up for disappointment. To act without attachment is to detach our sense of self from the fruits of our labor. It is to engage with the world, not for what we will get out of it, but because it is what we are called to do. It is about finding purpose in the action itself, not in the outcome. When we can release our attachment to results, we open ourselves to a deeper experience of life, one where every moment is enough, regardless of what comes next. This does not mean we stop striving for our goals. Far from it. It means we strive with an open heart, without the need for control. We allow ourselves to be fully engaged in the work, without obsessing over the results. In this way, we become more resilient, more adaptable, and more at peace with the journey. When we let go of the need to control the end, we experience freedom in the act itself. The paradox is this: the more we let go of our attachment to success, the more success comes to us naturally. When we stop chasing the future, we find that the present moment is all we need to thrive. The world around us is filled with noise, distraction, and constant demands for our attention. We are constantly bombarded with information, expectations, and pressures that pull us in 1,000 directions. In the midst of this chaos, it is easy to feel overwhelmed, anxious, or disconnected. And yet, in the midst of it all, there is a quiet center within us, an inner peace that remains untouched by the storm. The challenge is not to eliminate the external chaos, but to cultivate an inner calm that allows us to navigate the storm with grace. Inner peace is not something that can be found in external circumstances. We cannot control the world around us, nor can we shield ourselves from the noise and demands of modern life. but we can control our inner landscape. We can choose how we respond to the chaos, how we engage with the world, and how we maintain our sense of equilibrium. Inner peace is not the absence of conflict. It is the ability to remain grounded and centered in the midst of conflict. The key to cultivating inner peace is acceptance. It is about accepting that life is often unpredictable and that we cannot control the external circumstances that arise. The more we resist what is happening around us, the more we create stress and anxiety. But when we learn to accept life as it comes, when we stop trying to fight against the current, we find that peace naturally arises from within. Acceptance does not mean resignation or passivity. It means acknowledging the reality of the situation without judgment or resistance. It means saying, "This is what is happening, and I am here with it, fully present and fully engaged." When we accept what is, we stop struggling with life, and in that space of acceptance, we find the freedom to choose how we respond. We no longer feel victimized by the circumstances. Instead, we find ourselves empowered by our ability to choose our attitude and our actions. But acceptance is not enough on its own. We must also cultivate presence. In the midst of chaos, it is easy to get swept up in the noise, to lose ourselves in worry, fear, or distraction. But when we stay present in the moment, when we focus our attention on what is before us, we become more resilient in the face of challenge. Presence allows us to see the situation clearly, to respond with wisdom and compassion, and to act from a place of groundedness rather than reaction. The paradox of inner peace is this: the more we accept the chaos around us, the more peace we find within. When we stop trying to change the world, we begin to change our experience of it. Inner peace is not a destination to be reached, but a way of being. It is the recognition that, no matter what happens externally, we always have the power to choose our response. And in that power, we find the freedom to live with grace, balance, and serenity. To cultivate inner peace in a chaotic world requires practice and patience. It requires a commitment to showing up in each moment with presence and acceptance, no matter what the world throws our way. But when we embrace this practice, we discover a profound truth. Peace is not something that exists outside of us. It is something that already resides within us, waiting to be uncovered. The balance between action and acceptance is the key to living a life of harmony. It is the ability to engage with the world fully, while also surrendering to the flow of life. It is the understanding that we must act with purpose, but also with the humility to accept whatever comes our way. It is about finding peace in the midst of chaos and freedom in the midst of uncertainty. When we learn to balance action with acceptance, we discover that life's challenges are not burdens, but invitations to grow, to learn, and to live fully. Conclusion: embracing life's beautiful uncertainty. Life is not a problem to be solved, but a mystery to be lived. In the pursuit of answers, we often forget that life itself is not something to be fixed or understood in its entirety. The more we seek to control, predict, or define our experiences, the more we distance ourselves from the profound richness that comes from simply being in the moment. Life, with all its uncertainty, is an unfolding journey, and the real beauty of it is not in having everything figured out, but in surrendering to the flow of the unknown. In embracing life's uncertainties, we release the false need for permanence and security. We begin to see that the very things we often resist, change, loss, unpredictability, are actually the essence of our existence. It is through this acceptance that we cultivate a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. Life is a tapestry woven with the threads of impermanence, and it is in this ever-changing nature that we find the opportunity to grow, to learn, and to find meaning. When we stop seeking life's certainty, we make room for possibility. Certainty, with its illusions of control, only confines us. It locks us into fixed expectations and prevents us from experiencing the full spectrum of life's experiences. The unknown, on the other hand, invites us to be flexible, adaptable, and open to whatever comes next. It is in the openness to the unknown that we discover the freedom to explore, to create, and to evolve. The uncertainty of life is not a barrier. It is the very playground of human experience. In surrendering the need to control and define, we begin to see that the answers we seek are not outside of us, but within. The wisdom we need to navigate life's challenges is not found in the certainty of external circumstances, but in the quiet trust we cultivate within ourselves. Trusting the flow of life is about recognizing that we are not separate from it, but part of its rhythm, its ebb, and its flow. We are in constant motion, and when we learn to move with it rather than against it, we find peace. This journey of embracing uncertainty is not about giving up or resigning ourselves to passivity. It is about finding strength in surrender. It is about acknowledging that we cannot always control what happens to us, but we can control how we respond. We can choose to live with resilience, with courage, and with an openness to whatever unfolds. The uncertainty of life becomes the space in which we grow, adapt, and find new possibilities for joy and fulfillment. Ultimately, embracing uncertainty is an invitation to live fully. It is about releasing the need to cling to the past, to anticipate the future, and instead, diving deep into the richness of the present moment. Each moment is a gift, fleeting yet powerful, filled with infinite potential. When we stop resisting life's flow, we allow ourselves to be carried by it, to experience it in its fullest depth. The wisdom of life lies in its unpredictability. The joy of life lies in its impermanence. And the freedom of life lies in our ability to let go of certainty and embrace the beautiful mystery of the journey. In surrendering to the flow of life, we discover that we are never truly lost. We are exactly where we need to be, in this moment, in this breath. Life's uncertainties are not to be feared but celebrated as the very force that drives us toward new experiences, new perspectives, and new understandings. So let go of the need to control, to fix, or to know. Embrace the beauty of life's unknowns, trust the flow, and allow yourself to be carried into the mystery of the journey. For in doing so, you will find the freedom, peace, and joy that only comes when we accept that life is not a destination. It is the infinite unfolding of the present moment.